Hello and welcome. Because I left domestic violence. Blessing number 5,898. Scott. So his name sign is Scott. I wrote a blog today about the blessings of leaving domestic violence and the story of Joseph. And that story I've explained in a few other videos before. So today, just for fun, I thought I would share our first date and how it went. So I have permission to share. Okay. So we did online dating and looked at, each other's profiles and all of that and wrote back and forth and all was looking great. So now after about 8 weeks of exchanging back and forth, it's time to finally meet. So for our first date, we are going to go to a Mexican little restaurant called Costa Vida. And no, they didn't pay me to add that into the video. Anyway, so we go to Costa Vida and he's going to meet me there. So he's driving there. I'm driving there. We'll meet, see each other, see if we match what we look like, go in, have dinner in a very public place. Like we should be fine. So to kind of be a side story, I had a friend at the time. Her name is Emily. And she was very, very concerned that I was going to start dating someone from the internet. So she gave me this list of rules. You can't. Here's some examples. You can't have him meet you at your home. You can't get in the car with him. You can't show him that you've got kids. All of these can'ts, right? Just get to know him first, and then you can feel it in your gut if it's going to be fine. Okay, so we've got this rehearsed. We've got this followed. Now, another side of the side story. Emily was not happy that he had sunglasses on in his picture. He's like, what's he hiding? What's up with that? Anyway, so I'm like, well, I still feel fine about it. So we met for the date. And I see him pull in because he told me the car. He told me the car. And it was a Suburban. And so I saw him pull in. I'm like, okay. So I get out of my car. And he gets out of his car and he races to the other side of the car and he's looking for something. And I'm kind of walking back like, oh, okay, I have to wait. And then he comes back around and he sees me because I was walking and he was like, oh, hi, you're April, right? I'm like, yeah, you're Scott. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'll be right back. I'm like, okay. So he hops in his car and he pulls out and he drives away. And I'm not thinking. And so I'm kind of standing there and I go back to my car. I sit in my car and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And then the thought pops into my head, you can leave. And I'm like, I don't know. I said I would wait. So then I'm having this debate in my head, right? The negative, positive in my head, all of that. You should go. He left. You need to go too. But I said I would stay, but go, but stay. I don't know. So this is going into my mind. And in about like 6 minutes, he came back. I'm like, okay, that's a good thing. He parks and he gets out and he's like, I'm sorry about that. Are you ready for the date? And I'm like, sure. So we walk into the restaurant. As we're walking into the restaurant, I notice that his shirt is inside out. I can see the stitching. Now, what's funny, if you're thinking that's like a t-shirt inside out, maybe that can happen. But it was a collared shirt that was inside out. Anyway, I noticed it and then I was like, oh no, look at the floor. Okay, ooh, Mexican tile on the floor. So I'm looking down and he's chatting away and I'm chatting, but kind of looking down and not looking at his shirt and the seams and the inside out collar with the buttons inside out. And he's talking and then he's like, and he noticed that his shirt was inside out. He was like, I'll be right back. He was cool, like, I'll be right back. I went into the bathroom, changed, came back out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how sweet. He was nervous. Oh, that's sweet. That's what I'm thinking. So we order our food, we sit down, we start talking, we eat, we talk, we share information, stories, my life, his life, and he has a word of the day. The word of the day is interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. That's what he said the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm super cool. I'm totally not nervous. I got this. So we finished dinner, and then it's kind of the awkward first time meet. Do you high five, shake hands, hug, maybe kiss, right? It's the awkward part. So we're walking out of the restaurant, and we kind of decide to do like the side hug. And then he's like, I'll email you and we'll talk soon and call, and we'll set up another time. And I said, I would really like that. It was fun. We talked a lot and it was good. So it was very positive. So he gets in his car and I'm walking to my car, and I suddenly, in the walk to my car, I don't have my keys. I don't have my key. I have nothing. I know it's not in the restaurant. And I go to the side, the driver's side, and I'm looking. Yeah, my keys are in the car. So as I was puffing myself up, like I was not nervous. No, really, I was. I was very nervous. So I had locked my keys in the car too. Great. So he starts to drive away, but he notices that I'm not getting into my car, and I'm like, bye. Because what was the rule that Emily said? You can't get into the car. You can't show him where you live. All these can'ts, right? And I'm like, oh no. So he drives back around. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, well, maybe I was a little nervous too because I left my key in the car. And he's like, he's so sweat because he knows the rules too. Like, oh, I can't ask her to get into my car. She thinks I'm going to be an axe murderer. Oh, so he starts getting nervous and I'm nervous. So now we're both nervous. And then he's like, I'm going to make this offer. Do you want to get in the car? I will drive you to your area. I promise you, I'll drop you outside, not even of your home. You can walk. I won't look. I promise. I know all the rules. And I'm like, okay, no, it's okay. So I open the car, go in, drive to the home, and my parents are babysitting the 5 kids. So I go running into the house, and my dad's like, how'd it go? And I go running out of the house. He was like, what? Jumped the car. I ran in, grabbed the spare key, drive over, get the car. Anyway, the next time when I left, kind of gave more of a hug and not the awkward bye. Like the hug. Okay. And then we set up a time to meet again. And that's how the dating started. So that was our first date. He inside out shirt, left, came back. Do you know why he left? He forgot his wallet at home. Now, what's interesting, and yes, I say that word on purpose. What's interesting is that he lives about, it was like 8 miles from where we were at the restaurant. And for him to back, it was probably going 80. And if anyone knows Bountiful, you really can't go 80 on the little side roads. But yeah, he was like the flash, and he got back. So he came back. I agreed to go on another date, even though his shirt was inside out, even though I had locked my keys in the car. I think we were just meant to be. So anyway, that was the little fun story about that. Oh, I have many more, but we'll leave it there. Anyway, happy day for everybody, and enjoy this time preparing for Easter. And remember the blessings that you have, like I have, because I left domestic violence. Blessing number 5,889. Scott. We'll see y'all.